The second product in our Parawing Test 2025 is the F2 Move Pro. This is a 4-level Parawing structure, specifically where the first and second levels, the A and B levels, are fixed. That means both levels are attached to the very end of the control bar. As a result, the leading edge remains very stable when depowering. Only the 2 rear levels provide relief in the fabric. Control is via a standard control bar or a control handle, which is equipped with small horns at the ends. Even during the first use on land, it is noticeable that the Move Pro from F2 is significantly calmer and less prone to stalling than the Ansys Roger, which we tested first. You immediately notice that the support from the bridle really controls the canopy efficiently. The steering response is smooth and not too direct. It's easy to understand, and the depower capability is also very efficient. There are no issues when letting it out either. It always unfolds quickly without getting tangled in the lines or getting stuck anywhere. Now let's move on to the features. The fabric is made from a triple ripstop material. The leading edge is specifically supported by integrated plastic rods. The connection points of the bridle, meaning the entire bridle system, are additionally reinforced with fabric under the webbing. Before we continue with the actual test, we would like to point out a few small things. We will now let the footage run much longer overall so that you can clearly see that there are no cuts here, no fakes or anything like that. But so you can really see what actually happens overall with the Parawing, what you need to pay attention to and what you need to consider during takeoff, while riding, while steering the Parawings, and how do you reel it in, how do you let it out. These are all important details that even today, even in this young sport, make the difference. And of course, a key aspect is what you actually combine your Parawing with. For the F2 Move Pro Test, we have at the moment a rider weighing approximately 74 kilos using a 63-liter board and a 1050 wing. As another tester, we have someone weighing 85 kilos paired with a 95-liter board and a wing with 1600 square centimeters. What stands out when starting is that the F2 has a high level of forward drive. It has a mix of minimal lateral force, but the main component is directed forward. What's remarkable is how cleanly and stall-free the entire profile edge behaves. And you don't need to be overly sensitive with your hands here, because the responsiveness is so slowed down that you don't have to expect any really nervous reactions. With many other Parawings, we've already noticed that they can't be pumped efficiently. Since during the pumping motion, the profile usually collapses or the leading edge or the tips stall here, even when pumping, as long as the process is carried out slowly and calmly, the pumping efficiency here is really almost comparable to that of a normal wing. Accordingly, the F2 Move Pro has the best takeoff ability of all Parawings we have had so far, and that has been a lot. For body weights between 70 and 90 kilograms, you need 15 knots or more to get up on the foil. As you can see here, this is difficult to achieve with only 10 to 12 knots. The sensible choice of size is comparable to that of a regular wing as you know it. In flight, the F2 Move Pro appears exceptionally calm and impressively well balanced. Of course, there are one or two tiny collapses during maneuvers, such as jibing, but they don't immediately upset you, unlike with comparable other Parawings. It consistently delivers steady propulsion, and its upwind performance is absolutely impressive. You can achieve nearly the same angle as with a regular wing. In comparison, it can be said that so far only the ozone in our evaluation process has, among all the products evaluated, been slightly better on the upwind course, but really only by a minimal margin. The whole thing isn't particularly difficult to execute. Of course, here too you have to pay attention to optimal line tension. Turning the Parawing should happen just a tiny moment before initiating the turn with the board or the foil. This is because the F2 Move Pro always stays in exactly the right position and is easy to guide. And again, compared to the Parawings that we have used so far, we have tested or had in our hands, this was the best and easiest result so far. And of course, there will be more to come here in the course of the next days, and in the near future, there will be a number of new Parawing tests. Executing a tack, that is, a maneuver against the wind, is one of the skills we're still working on, since the hand-switching technique naturally requires the wing to remain steady, and that's really quite challenging. But as I said, we're working on it. Since the F2 Parawing creates a steady forward pull, you need to bear away onto a deep broad reach or downwind course when retrieving the wings, such as these, in order to effectively reduce the line tension enough so that you can reel it in with a moderate amount of effort and control if needed. What remains, thanks to the really well-designed leading edge, is a slight larger flower, as we call it, which you then carry in your hand. What techniques will look like in the future for stowing the whole thing while surfing, that's again another story. In this case, of course, we can't make any statements about that. So there will always be a slightly larger flower left over, but the drag, meaning the actual air resistance against the wind, is simply, of course, significantly lower than with a wing. Holding the wing in this way also reduces the need to let go of the wing, as the wing hardly changes its position in the hand. If it is now stowed under a t-shirt, in a bag, or something similar, of course, that could look different again. That, of course, is always a matter of practice, which with the Parawing should definitely not be neglected overall. And if we want to divide this still very young Parawing sport into different categories, for example in the freeride area, which can also be covered very well with the normal wing. With the Parawing, this is overall more difficult because you need significantly more sense of balance and similar skills. On the other hand, there is of course the group of pure downwinders, meaning riders with experience in downwind, foiling with SUP or prone surfers and the like. Naturally, they want to be able to retrieve the wing as easily as possible. In the first test, the ANSYS Roger did this a bit better than the F2, and the ozone was also a bit better in this regard. Nevertheless, it can be said clearly it's not difficult. You just have to simply and consistently head downwind, and then the whole thing works very well overall. If we summarize the whole thing again, compared to the ANSYS Roger tested first, absolute stability prevails here with the F2 Parawing, exactly what you want as a freerider. How could it work if you're fascinated by the idea of mastering it just like a regular wing? With the F2 Move Pro, we're actually not that far off. We achieve almost the same performance downwind. It's no problem to run upwind and return, even after longer downwind rides. With the F2, that's absolutely easy and very doable. The takeoff happens very early, thanks to the constant propulsion force, which is directed mainly forward and only minimally to the side. The profile stability allows you to pump this wing efficiently. Of course, you need a broad reach for that. It doesn't work on a beam reach, but that's true for other wings as well. For anyone who focuses mainly on downwind rides and already has exceptionally good skills, this is an absolutely and incredibly reliable wing that can be easily and quickly depowered. There are still a few other wings that are actually a bit easier to handle in this particular regard. However, the overall length of the bridle lines is not too long or cumbersome. If you are about 1.75 to 1.80 centimeters tall, you can quite easily reach the wingspan and fold it up without any trouble or difficulty at all. We generally recommend using a trapeze line, since the efficiency of many Parawings is still quite low at the moment, especially when compared to other types of wings. After just 15-20 minutes of riding, your arm gets tired. Without a trapeze line, this fatigue can set in even sooner. This also applies to the F2 Parawing, which is no exception. In conclusion, it can be said, the F2 Move Pro is currently the best all-round and free-ride Parawing with good downwind characteristics. The only minor limitation is the ease of launching and retrieving. In terms of smooth and predictable flight behavior as well as control, it impresses with high stability at the tips. No stalling, no front stall, no back stall, no collapsing of the tips. Altogether, it's a consistently well-rounded and pleasant experience. The Parawing we tested, with 4.2 square meters, costs €549, a very affordable price, which is also due to the fact that it is sold directly by the manufacturer. To conclude, we'll now leave you with the original audio from the test.